Do more by doing less. With me, Charles Alexander, for small business owners, startups, and busy folks.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
So me and my lovely wife, Sarah Alexander, who I hope's listening but probably isn't, we live in our, what I think is our fourth and final home. And look, we're no Chip and Joanna Gaines, but each house we have bought was a fixer-upper. This has let us live in a house we probably wouldn't be able to normally live in based off of our current income or how we enjoy our week, by getting to have more free time than having to worry about where the next paycheck is coming from. Each house had a different story, and each took a little bit of planning. Yeah, you're going to see where I'm going. The very first house we bought was in Madison, Tennessee, and at the time, it was not up and coming. It was down and leaving, but whatever. We're newlyweds. We know we can make this work. And it was a house that had been on the market forever, and it did not show well. It was owned by Gracie, bless her sweet old heart, the cat lady. And by sweet old heart, she had her kids living with her grandkids living with her great grandkids living with her, and 7 different cats. Each time we did a viewing of the home, it was put them, they didn't want to show it that much, which is hard to sell a house, and it put them out quite a bit. And the house was just always a hot mess. And how could it not be with that many people living in a 3-bed, 2-bath home? But we managed to see beyond it, could figure out what we needed to do to get it just right, bought it, did a lot of planning, and before we did anything else, we had it figured out, pen to paper wise, and went in and made the house our own. After we lived there a few years, great house, not a great neighborhood. It was time to move. Then we decided, all right, we're experts now. We're going to move into our second home. Ooh, this one's a nice house in a nice neighborhood. The real estate agent who was trying to sell it kept telling us about the hill in the backyard. We didn't care about that because we didn't have kids, and a hill didn't matter to us. Unfortunately, the real estate agent never got to sell it because the house was also going into foreclosure. But we had set ourselves up to where we could buy a house going into foreclosure. And it went to the auction steps 4 or 5 times. And every time I'd go buy it or go to buy it, it would be postponed. All of my planning still hadn't come to fruition, but it eventually did, and we managed to buy the house, and we had to send an eviction notice to the dude that lived there, and he did eventually leave. And when he left, he took the refrigerator, the built-in microwave, the smoke detectors, not battery operated, mind you, the ones that you plug in. Oh, and he left us a special surprise in every toilet of the house, 4 toilets. That took a lot of planning on his part, bless his sweetheart, but either way, we managed to go in. No damage was done. Got everything cleaned up. Oh, well, by the way, that took quite a long time, and we lived there for a while. Now, part of our planning was not planning out far ahead enough, because this was a nice neighborhood, not like the old house. But after we started having kids, we realized, oh gosh, we live on a hill. That's what the real estate agent was trying to tell us. So we took that house, rented it out for a while because the market was down. Took a little planning to do that. And we decided to go find our next house. Well, the next house was farther away, but close to where I worked, close to the in-laws. We'd planned for it a little bit, but we were in kind of a hurry because number 3, he was on his way, and we wanted to be moved in first. We hustled. When I said we hustled, we found a house that was currently a rental, but would fit our current needs, 4-bed, 3-bath, but still a smaller house. The renters didn't want to move out because they wanted to buy it. They just didn't have the ability. Yes, I'm getting to a point. We managed to get it, got moved in the nick of time before number 3 Lane showed up, and had a lot of cleaning out to do with it as well, including fleas in the master bedroom. After we lived there a while, we outgrew it. We planned, but not, again, far ahead enough. This last one, we had done the correct amount of planning. We found the needle in the haystack. The market was hot, and we found the perfect home for us. And it is, and it still is today, because we did the perfect amount of planning. This time we weren't rushed. The house that we bought this last time, bigger house, plenty of space, flat, 2 acres. And the reason it was a fixer-upper, even though it was an executive home in a beautiful neighborhood, because the folks that own it, I'm guessing, had mental health issues. It looked like an episode of Hoarders. But either way, we managed to buy it, and now that is where we are. So again, Me and my beautiful wife, who I keep saying beautiful. By the way, guys, side rant here. We live in the golden age of wives. Not only do they have a lot to do, they earn income and they still do, not all, but still do a lot of the cooking, cleaning, errand running, and figuring out what homeworkers do. But then they also go to whatever, burn boot camp and the esthetician, and they knit, pluck, do all the beautiful things, and they're just gorgeous. When I grew up in the 80s and 90s, moms were great, but dude, that was a day and age where mom drove Astro vans, wore mom jeans, and had bowl haircuts. So boom, we are lucky. Back to the houses. That last house was the fall of 2018. Had great bones, great amenities, and we had spent time really planning this last purchase. It had to fit our future for our family. It had to be the right house in the right neighborhood. We didn't have any of those other issues before. Wasn't like the first house that was in the wrong neighborhood. Wasn't like the second house that was on a hill. Wasn't like the third house that we were going to outgrow. This one still had issues. It had several rooms for whatever reason that were unfinished. It had odd amenities like a shelf in the middle of nowhere and countertops that matched nothing else in the house. But we knew we could take advantage of it. Like I said, we're not Chip and Joanna games. I can't hammer a nail straight, but we can plan. My wife is an accountant by trade, a bookkeeper, has her own business, and she plans for everything. She loves a color-coded spreadsheet like grown men love their college football teams, or a fat kid loves cake. I don't think that's even correct to say anymore. But for us, it was about finding what we could do over a period of time. This last house, planning-wise, we determined our budget. We figured out what items needed to be updated. Thirdly, we determined what we could do and then what we would have to outsource. Then we figured out who else we'd have to get involved. We put a budget together. We had a timeline. Then we figured out in what order to do everything. We had to do the big things first. You get to do the roof, the gutters, the HVAC, the windows. Then you work on the smaller things, such as the kitchen or the bathroom remodel. Then you figured out what else you could do with the money that you had left. And we determined what we could or couldn't get at Lowe's and where we could or couldn't splurge on. And then you finish the final things out. You paint, put carpet in, and boom. We did it on we did it our way. It wasn't like it was on a tight timeline. That third house, son, we were hustling. I'm telling you, we had to move in with the in-laws for a period of time, 6 months. They had a smaller house. I got two very young girls and a very pregnant wife living with her mom. We had to hustle. The time spent planning at that point was limited. All of this to say, all of the planning talk to say, each of those plans that we had initially made were right for us at the time. But over a period of time, we had to grow, we had to adapt, we had to change. And we did more planning for each of these homes than most people do for their lives, for their business. And that's mind-boggling for me. We all say the things that we want to have in our life. I want to spend more time with my family, my friends, my faith. I want to read. I want to hike. I want to travel. And we spend no time planning for it. In our business, we want to do more of the things we love and fewer of the things we don't. I want to spend more time face to face with my clients. I want to get my voice out there. I want to work with other people to help them achieve what they need in life, because that will in turn also help me. I want to spend less time worrying about what's in the inbox, going to another meeting, sitting on another committee, or just doing stuff that doesn't fulfill me. Look, spend more time planning, not a lot of time. Here's the simple exercise in 5 minutes per week. And yeah, I know it sounds like an infomercial, but seriously, whether it's a Friday afternoon or even that Monday morning, block out 5 minutes. And you can't check email first, because checking email first immediately takes you off into the wrong direction. That's number one. Block out 5 minutes. Don't let anything else get in the way. Then you need to identify kind of what your long-term goals are for that week. Hey, let's get real big. Let's say it for the month, because every one of us have goals we start at the beginning of the year and then we work our way backwards into them. But most of us don't really put those things that we've reverse engineered onto a calendar somewhere, but you got to do that. Number two, block off time on your calendar to do these things for yourself. Ideally, each week you're blocking off 60 to 90 minute chunks every day. Ideally, once or twice a day, at least Tuesday through Friday, and preferably even Monday afternoon. Our brains really kick in, and there's science to prove it, at the 60 to 90 minute mark. Anything less than that, I mean, you can get some stuff done, but you're basically just checking items off a to-do list. Anything longer than that, we get burned out, and if it's longer than an Adam Sandler movie, we get distracted pretty easily. 60 to 90-minute chunks. And when you have those chunks, don't let anything else get in the way. Like I've said so many times before, turn the notifications off, put your phone away, hang a sign on the door if you have one. Let whoever you're in the house with know that's we're taking that block of time and doing something with it. Treat it like a doctor's appointment. I've used that analogy over and over, but if I have a doctor's appointment, I don't move it, I don't replace it. I go to the doctor, come back, and my life is still there and the business is still running. And even at the end of the day, before you quote unquote hit the done button, and I do recommend that you have a way to signify to your brain that you are done for the day. For me, I have a time tracker I use. I type in done in all caps with an exclamation point that tells my brain I'm done. And that's a routine and a ritual that has kept me on track. Do something for yourself, whether it's shutting the laptop and putting it into a case somewhere or scooting the chair in a particular way. But before you do, plan for the following day. Make sure you still have those blocks of time. Don't let emails or meetings or anything get into that block of time. And then lastly, a little cheat sheet here, color code your blocks of time. The most important blocks of time I have are color coded green. Green means those are important, and green means go, and green means money. Maybe that's different for you. Maybe it's orange or yellow. I don't care. But spend time planning. And if you do, like me and Sarah, I don't know if I can brag a whole lot, but again, my quote unquote beautiful wife, I've said for the 5th time here. Man, this got to earn me some brownie points. This is our 4th and final home. Our last home, or at least for now, till we plan to move later. Don't take off just yet. I've created a new program just for you, helping overworked entrepreneurs create their very own 4-day work week in 90 days or less. Look, if you'd rather spend more time with family, friends, traveling, exercising, having the time to do what you want instead of, I don't know, putting out never-ending fires, tackling another to-do list, and checking email at 9 p.m., then go to my website, yourcharlesalexander.com. If you've created the income you want but don't have the time freedom you deserve, then this is for you. And as always, if you don't, an angel may actually lose its wings. True story. Have a great day.